Hello everyone, this video will finally feature a long-awaited crash test of the Plasticine car. I'll break apart this model from 1969. This is the same car from the beginning of the first Fast and Furious movie. At the end of the movie, this one was destroyed, and today we'll see how this Plasticine one gets destroyed. I think you'll find it very interesting to watch, even though it's a bit sad. I've already talked in more detail about this Dodge made of Plasticine in a previous video where I also showed the creation process. First, it's better for you to watch it. So, the Dodge crash test. Why am I destroying my many hours of work? You might ask... It looks spectacular, like a large-scale car made of Plasticine crashing, and the damage the car receives is very similar to real ones, just like how real cars crash. And watching all of this in slow motion is really interesting. And since I make the cars out of Plasticine, and this material is quite soft, you can always change its shape. That is, you can break it, any part of the body can get dented, you just need to apply some force. And so that the car could break apart, I made it out of separate parts, not from a single block of Plasticine. That is, it's hollow inside, the thickness of the body parts is 1 mm. That's enough for damage and for the strength of the whole structure, so that the car stands and doesn't fall apart. Of course, I feel sorry to break the cars I make, but at the same time, I enjoy destroying them and watching all the damage happen live. And as an example, I'll show you what can happen. And while I was filming these shots here, an iPhone was attached to the lamp on these Plasticine supports. And what do you think happened? It just fell and damaged its front wing. Now there's a noticeable small dent there. Well, at least it could have been even worse. For instance, he could have breached the roof. So it means we need to tape him to the lamp as well. So what kind of injuries did he get? It was a collision right in the center. The damaged part took on the shape of the block it crashed into. Interestingly, this silver line bent upward, not inward toward the engine. Cracks appeared in the paint due to the stretching of the Plasticine, and the hood bent. It bulged upward in a sharp shape. Initially, of course, the hood's strength is low because of this cutout for the supercharger, so it bends quite easily. The engine was unharmed, but the radiator was visibly bent. A gap has formed at this silver line, it came loose from its mounting, and soon it might even come off completely. And this dent on the fender is where the iPhone fell, the one that's filming shots of the car from above. This, for example, looks like what would happen if a small tree fell on this part. So these are the first damages we got. Now I'll crash the front part again. I pushed the car at an angle. It flew off at a slant and hit the transparent plastic barrier, which is supposed to direct the car into the block during a collision. As a result, the wheel was hit, the rim was torn, and the fender behind the wheel got bent. The windshield also flew out, and I don't see any more new damages. Let's try again. And this turned out beautifully. The car noticeably hit the block with its side, which caused not just a scratch but a whole cut in the lower part of the door and the sill. Now that looked realistic. And the car hit it pretty hard. The lower part of the door was just torn along the seam. You can see the inner plasticine and pieces of foil there. Well, I guess that's what happens if you hit a high curb or a concrete block. Damn, but here I missed and the car flew past the block and crashed into the back wall. Sadly, I missed capturing the collision. Look how great it turned out. The right wing and the hood are already badly bent, the front part bent downward, which caused a lot of dents and cracks to appear on the wing. In my view, this also appears realistic. From below, the engine protection is completely torn off, revealing the extent of the damage to the front part, which is heavily dented. This time it turned out more even. The impact hit the same right side, and now the fender and hood are bent even more. The downward slope is even more noticeable. And by the way, you can't see the right headlights anymore. They got squeezed in because of the collision under the hood. You can see that the engine is shifted. It's now sitting crooked, and the entire front part is already misaligned relative to the body. Now from below, the exhaust system is now loose, all the fasteners have come off, and the upper line has already broken off. It's gradually falling apart. It was beautiful how all these parts flew apart. The only thing missing was some small fragments. Then it would have been completely realistic. He pushed the car, but not correctly. The front part flew apart, the engine is barely holding on now, it's already shaking all over, and the front part is just completely smashed to pieces. Here's what it looks like from below. The engine is shaking and freely wobbling. Now the wheel with the fender is coming off, barely hanging on by a piece of foil. Damn, the front part is barely holding together, and I still need to do a few more crashes. I don't know how to continue the crash test because the front part will just fall apart completely. I'll try to glue everything back together with super glue now. I started the car incorrectly again. I wanted to do a side collision into the door, but the car hit the upper part of the front fender. Because of this collision, now the whole body is warped and the front part is pointing to the side. The damage was severe, and the car, unfortunately, is already deteriorating. As you can see, I barely managed to glue everything back together. I assembled it piece by piece. But this won't last long. Soon everything will fall apart again, and Everything finally fell apart. Only the engine with the left wing is left hanging. And even that can already be torn off. Well, at least it's more or less intact, so I'll leave it for some next machine. A collision with the door still happened after several attempts. The door was significantly dented in a collision. The damage is visible, but not as bad as it could have been. The rear part received minor damage, and there are noticeable scratches and cracks on the right side. There are also traces of collisions on the roof, several scratches and small dents. Look at how interestingly the rear part bent. It just bent upwards because it hit the block during the collision, and the block was poorly secured and completely broke off. As if a supercar crashed into it, like... It appears epic, naturally. So basically, what's left? The body is missing the front section. The detached gas tank is visible in the trunk. Inside the cabin, the dashboard, steering wheel, and pedals are all gone. Only the seat and the safety frame remain. Underneath, part of the transmission, the exhaust system, the gas tank, and the rear wheel remain. That's because I glued it on. Yeah, that was definitely overkill. I shouldn't have done so many crashes to the front part. I couldn't really do proper side collisions with the pole, and I couldn't manage to brake the rear part properly either. In this crash test, I wanted to launch the car by hand, not with a remote control car, and here's the result: a low quality crash test. Still, it's necessary to build a rail launcher for the cart, so you can put the car on it and accelerate it to reach a proper speed. Basically, to function like academic, but on a smaller scale. I'll try to make something like that for the next crash test. This attempt wasn't successful. You could say I wrecked the car without achieving anything worthwhile on film. Shall we wrap it up here? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the crash test, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in my clay creations. Goodbye, everyone.